One of the things I come across over and over again when I go into corporations to coach or train is the extraordinarily high level of stress, particularly amongst young people. I've given a lot of thought to this, and of course it's got a lot to do with lifestyle and issues that I don't want to touch on at the moment, but there is something that I do want to talk about, and that's the way offices are designed. You know, over and over again we recognise that one of the main problems is that office furniture is designed for the average person. Now, if you look around a room, you won't see an average person. You know, if you go on a bucket airline where you pay very little for the ticket, you get off the plane and you think, goodness, I paid so little, but my goodness, you've got a few aches and pains, particularly if you're the size I am. The trouble is, we're all made to fit into average size furniture, made for average size people, and not one of us is average, and therefore we have to make compromises. The problem is, we make the compromises involuntarily. We're not aware we're doing it. And there is a price to be paid, and that is pain in the back, pain in the neck, tiredness, all sorts of associated problems. So this got me thinking about actually the way offices are planned. And one of the things that struck me first of all when I began to do some research was this. The modern open plan office space, well, it's not modern at all actually, it was designed in about 1901, a long, long time ago. Surprising, isn't it? Very simply, an American took the factory floor and he put it into the office. It became the office floor, which we sort of sexily call the open office space. This is absolutely fine if you want people to make procedural work, processing. Nothing that requires thinking. But the very moment you want thinking, well, you need a different environment. Because the brain works in different ways, in different environments. In your home, for example, you sleep in the bedroom, you wash in the bathroom, you cook in the kitchen, and you sit in the sitting room. You don't cook in the bathroom, wash in the kitchen, sit in the bedroom, and sleep in the sitting room, do you? We have defined spaces for defined activities. Well, the same is true when it comes to work. If you take most startups, where do they begin? They begin in coffee shops, they begin on park benches, they begin by the riverbank, anywhere, but not in a formal environment. What happens once these bright young people who've thrown their ideas around in an informal environment and come up with something really good? What do the moment they get some money? They rent an office. And then what happens? The thinking stops, the creativity stops, because a formalized environment is not where we like to do our thinking and sharing. Because actually, in the coffee shop, sharing, chatting, throwing ideas around, saying stupid things, saying intelligent things, feeding off one another, comes pretty naturally, doesn't it? They're social environments. The office is not a social environment. It has one objective: work. So what is the ideal plan for an office? Well, ideally, you need a place where people sit around and chat, take it easy, throw ideas around, feel comfortable. Then you need a place where people go to think. And these are very often monk-like cells, where people are alone and really try to make order of all the ideas that they've accumulated. And then, of course, you do need the big open space for that sense of team, that sense of community. But let me ask you some questions. Who is it in the big open space that dominates? Is it the loudest person? Is the loudest person, the most disruptive person, the most creative person, the most productive person? I say person, but I could say people. Probably not. And supposing you work for the legal department and you're in an open space environment. You're dealing with confidential material. You're making important telephone calls. Any moment you can be interrupted. What does that do to your productivity? What does that do to your sense of confidence? Pretty damaging. So, we need to really rethink the way offices are designed. Some companies are already doing this. Google, for example. Some companies have rooms where people can go and chill out for a few minutes. But this is not quite the same thing, is it? What I'm suggesting is that we have three distinct spaces. The lounging space, the thinking space, and the team space. This is what we need to work for if we're going to increase innovation, stimulate creativity, increase productivity. Three extremely important factors for a modern economy. And there's one other thing. To help people feel better about themselves and about their environment.